So, hello and welcome to another Coding and Philosophy podcast. I'm here with Emily, Emily Dang,
Yeah.
and I'm Juho.
Okay. Hi, Yuho.
Hello. This is like an AA meeting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so for this episode, I think we're gonna be talking about, well, how to live in the present and how to, move on from things and what is the purpose of memory and all these kinds of things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, are we recording? We can still edit, right?
Yeah, we can.
I thought like because it's a pretty big topic, if you want to talk about it just for like, I think you want it 25 minutes or.
Sure.
Yeah, so if it's 25 minutes, I don't think it's enough time to cover all of those.
Yeah.
So we should focus on only one, which is maybe living in the present, and then like moving on from stuff and those things. You can talk some later time or something.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think living in the present. That sounds nice.
Yeah.
And regarding that, I think you noticed something in the, like, once we ended the building, how there was this box which had, like, a place where you could put your phones. I mean, you could explain that.
Well, I just saw it like you can put your phone there, and then they say like something. I forget it, but like you should go to talk with people instead of being with your phone.
Exactly.
Your lover, your soulmate.
Yeah.
The phone.
The phone.
Yeah.
Which, that's something I oftentimes miss, or like I look around when I walk the streets and I see so many people staring at their phones rather than, and it's really hard to interact with someone who is doing that, right? You can't really strike up a conversation.
Yeah. And then it's actually a new era disease. Maybe I can call it a disease. Many people or some research do say like people are better when they are talking through their phone, like chatting, sending messages. And when they see each other in real life, there are some people that cannot talk at all.
Yeah.
And it's like psychological barrier or something because they are so much used to sending just messages. Yeah.
And I think that's so, that is a shame.
Yeah.
I don't know what is causing that.
Yeah.
And actually with messages, I've learned that you can interpret the message in so many ways.
Yes.
And it's such a limited form of communication, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I think you're kind of limiting yourself in conversations if you just talk through messages, right?
Yeah. And then you not connect with other people in a deeper sense because, I read somewhere, I don't remember where, but we do release some kind of hormone in our body when we interact face to face or when we touch something, like physically touching something. Okay. And then when we meet face to face, it creates a deeper connection feeling because that hormone is being released. But when we just sending text messages, it doesn't release anything. Yeah. So in a way, people now don't really. It's so hard to get close to each other, and then we become more distant, even with friends because we prefer just send some stupid message and instead of seeing each other in real life.
And that's the thing is we live in the much bigger cities right now. There's thousands and thousands of people like living really in close quarters with me.
Yeah.
And we are the loneliest that we have ever been, right?
Yes.
As like humanity,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And consider the culture in Finland. You normally don't even talk to each other, and then you have the phone, and it's extra things to add on top of everything else. So, yeah.
And there's some, like, usually in the rural communities or people living outside of big cities, they have much, I would say better communication skills, right? Because they talk face to face. They don't really use the phones so much, I think. So
that's a good thing there. Yeah, but back to our topic, live in the present moment.
Yeah, I think, that's one important thing about living in the present is that because phone is a distraction, right? It's something that distracts you from living in the present, right?
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to kind of interact with things that you see, like real world things, right?
Yeah, with your sayings, 5 sayings.
Yeah. And it's something we escape to a lot, I think, the phone. It's a safe space, right? Because you feel some social anxiety of like interacting with someone. That's why you pull out your phone and you, well, kind of create this barrier, right?
Yeah. I feel like now in the modern world we have so much stimulation. That's what I should call. Like even if we don't have a phone, we have TV, we have our PS5, we have whatever stuff, and then people get so much used to being stimulated. So even if you sit still for 1 second, you feel like, oh no, I have to do something.
Yeah.
Even in the conversation. So with the phone, in a way, like when you send a message to someone, you in the second that you're waiting for that person to reply, you can do something else, right? You can read something, you can reply to other people, like multitasking. So it's like stimulate you all the time, and then make you feel comfortable, but it is somehow take you away from the realities. In a way.
Yeah, and I was talking with a friend about, let's say, people in the past, let's say people living 2000 years ago versus now.
Yeah.
Is they were a lot more in tune with their own values, or they were a lot more, let's say, spiritual. Or if you ask them what do they want to do, they could have like a clear answer. They're a lot more, let's say, they had a purpose a lot more than nowadays. I think that's a big problem, is people have purposefulness. Is that a word? They don't have a purpose. So nowadays, I think that's gonna like.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
So my hand is flickering on the tab.
Yeah, that's fine. But so there's not so much purpose that people have, because there's, like you said, there's all these distractions. There's the TV and there's this technology, and they didn't have those back then, right? So even though we have, they provide to us a lot of opportunities, and we can, we should be grateful for the technology.
Yeah.
But also they distract us a lot, right? So that we aren't so, because we don't spend time just sitting there and not being in the present, basically. It's just sitting there and doing nothing. We also don't think about ourselves or the world in a more deeper sense.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. And then it's so weird, like the spiritual term is very weird for me. I'm spiritual. But then people, when they think about spirituality, they told like people with spirituality, they are crazy. They believe in God and superficial. But in fact, it is not. It is about you believing the way of living like how we lived before, without any kind of distraction. And that life of living is actually less stress, less anxiety, and you feel happier. You feel more connection with first to yourself and then to other people and surrounding, right? So like, yeah.
Yeah. I completely agree. And there's these, let's say, small rural villages where they don't have any of this technology, and they might be, I think a lot of them are much happier than the average, like, well, citizen in any country, or every, like, what would you call it, in a rich technology filled city. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And to add to that about the science stuff, I do know, like when I study free diving, I do read the research.
Free diving,
like you go dive underwater.
Okay. Yeah. So you do that.
Yeah. And there is some, like, it's actually a real things that our bodies, when we function, we consume oxygen, right? So in free diving, you have to save the most, like, as much as you want the oxygen. And then I know that the brains use actually the most oxygen. So when we are thinking so much, when we have so much thought running, which means the brain taking up all kind of oxygen in our body, and it take like all kind of other like kind of energies, and it's consumed just here in the brain. And that's why, like, I think that's part of the reason why we nowadays constantly stimulate, constantly thinking something. So we get more frustrated because our brain have to work all the time, and we don't have enough oxygen or energy to recover.
I'm not entirely sure what you mean. Can you explain a bit more?
Yeah.
Yeah. No worries.
Like I'm afraid that I talk about science and it sounds stupid
No,
because
that's
I
fine.
haven't read much about it for real. But I
Right.
just know one thing, that our brain, I mean, like our brain consume a lot of oxygen. Like compared to other part of the body, is the place that consume the most. So if we think and we use our brain so much, it means like you think about some stupid things, like what you going to eat for dinner, what did you eat yesterday, and how it was like, or some kind of crazy thought. Then you make your brain working, and when it's working for these useless things, yeah,
Okay, now I see.
yeah, it take more oxygen and it dissolve it.
Yeah, so you're saying that there's only a limited, like, let's say, thoughts that the brain can have before it gets tired.
Yeah.
And then if you can choose where those thoughts are directed to,
Yeah.
and if you think about, let's say, useless things or something, let's say, something that's happening on the internet, like thousands and thousands of miles away,
Yeah.
then that's, and it's not affecting your life, but you're still putting energy into thinking about that.
Yeah.
Then it's, in a way, it's wasted energy, or
Yeah.
like your energy could be used to kind of think about things which you actually could have an influence or have an impact on.
Yeah.
For example, your own life and how you could be better, for example. So
Yeah. And then our brains always, I think it's happened most of people, we not in the moment, we usually think about the past or in the future. Or I don't know how you are now, but for example, I do notice my brain is like, when I'm talking to you, I do like, there is a little bit of that thinking about what I'm going to talk next.
Okay. Well, that's just like nervousness, I would say, or like some, which, we all have that, right?
Yeah.
And it's, I think, well, hopefully it will ease up, so that we can have, because those are the best conversations where two people are really engaged and neither of them have any, basically, nothing holding them back in the conversation, right? That they're really comfortable.
Yeah.
So maybe we need to spicing the place up a bit more. We should have a sofa. We should have like some things to make this more like comfortable in a way. Yeah.
Not too comfortable that you're going to sleep.
That's true. You don't want to do that, So,
Yeah. But what my point is like, usually I don't know. Do you like, if I sit alone, just with myself and with my thought, I know like my thought will not stay here. I don't look around, or maybe I look around for 5 seconds, then my mind will wander somewhere else. Like I would think about some things that happened during my life. I would think about something might happen in the future, or maybe something happened in the past, and I brought it up and I processing it.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And I heard once that the less thoughts you have about yourself, the happier you are.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's really true, is that the more you're engaged in the outside world rather than having inward thoughts, you don't even have time to think about, or be afraid of, what's going to happen to me in the future, or why did I say that in the past, right? You're more focused on the external things, right? You're more interested in the world, right?
I'm not sure if I get your ideas, but if I get it right, then I would not agree with that, because I think we should think about ourselves, like reflect on ourselves, but in a healthy and positive way.
Yeah. So that and absolutely, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And what I mean when I say that the less thoughts you have about yourself. Like you want you to navigate in this world better. So you always have to be thinking like, how could I be better, and how could I have done this better, and how could, like, these are like really good thoughts to have, and you should have them. But I mean more that when you think about the negativity or negative thoughts, right? They are most likely related to, well, in a way they're selfish, I would call them, because they're always regarding they're about you, right? Rather than the outside world.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
So,
agree, yeah. Usually, if you have some negative thought, it's revolving like, why that things do that to me, or that person did that to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's never about why did that person say that to this person.
Yeah,
you know?
or or why did you do that to that person?
Yeah. So.
What the fuck did you do to that? Oh, sorry, I swear. Ooh, I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'll swear sometimes too.
Yeah. So I get you. Yeah. Okay. and like but like, you know, when you read about some monk, some teachings from Buddhism, we have those kind of teaching about mindfulness. And then mindfulness is actually just some action that you do, but with intention, and you really focus on doing that. And mindfulness have many different kind of research. Like, it's a very mainstream topics nowadays, like Taylor Swift on the media. So with mindfulness, you can help you to be more engaged to your present moment, or engaged to your daily life in much more focused and attentive and healthy way.
I completely agree with this.
Yeah.
And I think that's the mindfulness. It gets talked a lot about how it's this mystical thing or this weird, but it's not. It's just staying in the present. You know, it's just like meditation helped me to kind of develop mindfulness. I think it's a skill, or it's a muscle you can grow, right? Because like right now in the modern world, there's so many distractions. You have to kind of fight a war inside your own head against all those distractions. And mindfulness is the way that you fight that war, right? Or like developing that.
Yeah, could be, to live in the war, not to fight the war, but you live in the war.
You learn how to live with all these distractions. Right?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you should be, you should be able to utilize all this technology without being consumed by it. Right? And that's really easy to do, is to be consumed by the technology. Right? So,
And you know, like, we human, we want to be happy. We only want to be happy. But mostly during the day, or maybe nowadays, is way harder to be happy, just because I think because mainly people don't pay attention to what they have at the moment. We don't be grateful for what we have at the moment. We are not paying attention on what we have, but we were teached to have more, do more, or have to, aim out of flying somewhere, kind of.
And I think mindfulness also leads to gratefulness, which I think gratefulness is like you should be grateful every single day about something, and without kind of taking the time and thinking deeply on the things in your life which you should be grateful of. Like for me, one big thing is the Finnish education system, and actually the Finnish healthcare system, and all the utilities that the society gives to me for free. It's so mind-blowing when I start thinking about it. And I didn't, let's say, it wasn't always mind-blowing for me, because I took it for granted, right? But then I think I developed some of the mindfulness muscle, and that allowed me to start thinking deeply on the whole healthcare system, and that led me to become more grateful of the things that it provides. So, and that gave me more happiness. Maybe that's the logical progression of what happened, or or how mindfulness leads to happiness.
Or even if we are staying here and now, I still feel grateful that we had this conversation. Because you don't know what happened next, right? And I don't want to think about what's happened next. Maybe you are so busy and then or whatever happened, we don't talk anymore. But for example, but now we are enjoying our conversation, and this is a very, very lovely thing to be grateful for.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And before, me and my friends, we did a workshop, and in that workshop we do a mindfulness workshop. It's about art therapy and qigong. And in that workshop, we have a very, very small section for tea, mindfulness, tea drinking.
Okay.
It's so simple in a way. I like mindfulness to be simple. For just in the action of drinking tea, if you just pay attention to your tea, and then you pay attention on how the bag of tea look like. Have you ever paid attention on how it was constructed, how it was sealed, and how the tea leaf look like inside, how your cup is today, what is the color, how the color of the water changing when you pour the water in, and when you engage so much with that and you just focus with your cup of tea, and then maybe take you 5 minutes, 10 minutes just to look at that. While you drink your tea, you feel it, you taste it, the effect is give on people, and we get a very good feedback. And later on, when my friend did that to another roof, she also received very, very good feedback, and people say oh, they have never felt so relaxed in their life, and when they came home they can sleep so well and so on. But just from very simple action that you let your brain rest for 5 minutes or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Not long.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you instantly find the calming effect that it gives. It's the power of living up in the moment and be engaging.
Yeah. And that's the thing, because there's no distractions there. And it's so hard to find a place without any distractions, because we always have our phone in the back pocket. We can always pull it up, and there's an infinite world in that. You can do put your attention anywhere there. So and there's different ways, like what you're talking about, like focusing on when you're drinking tea or when you're eating, just focusing, being in the moment. Like how many people nowadays, when they're eating or when they're drinking, aren't on their phone, right?
Yeah.
Most while they're eating, they're also on their phone, right? And aren't really paying attention to what they're doing, right?
Yeah. So it's engaging. So I think living in the present is just about the meaning of it. It's not like just stay present. Well, you just keep saying stay present, but what is it about really? I think for me, I think it is about you engaging and focusing and be attentive on what you are doing just at that moment. And one things, not million things or multitasking. Just that moment, you do what, then you do that.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And I think also with being in the present, you're not focusing on you, but you're focusing on something outside of you, right? For example, the tea, or maybe it could be anything, but you're not inside of your own head.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
I think it's nice. I think I don't know how much our brain can perceive information for 1 second, but we do know for 1 instant second there are so many information that we could get in. Even right now there are light and how bright it is, how we talk now, and so on. So we can receive so much stimulation also by just sitting. We don't have to do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, just keep silent, and it's already perceive so many information. So that's why we have to have a focus point, so our head don't be overwhelmed.
Yeah, overstimulated.
Overwhelmed by just normal things like that. And maybe that could help us to stay more into our mind, our body, and we feel happier. I think it would give us happiness.
And
It's ultimate happiness.
yeah, and it also depends on your personality, because some people have a much harder time staying focused on something.
I
And
agree.
also the environment, like this environment, like you're making me realize that it's kind of clustered, right? There's a lot of things that could distract you, right? And I think the best conversation, like if are the ones where you're completely engaged in what the other person is saying without any other distractions. Right?
Oh, I don't mean complaining about anything here,
No,
okay?
it's fine.
Yeah, but I mean like not just here. Even if now we talk on the street, for example, even if I work on the street, I realize like if now I'm not focusing my mind on something that is useful, then I will be overwhelmed. Maybe I have a tendency to be a little bit ADD and ADHD. So I would hear like noise from the car. I can hear noise from the wind, for example. People are talking. I can smell this. I can smell that. I can see this. You know, so much things coming by just the environment it is. So what I mean is like that moment, 1 second, so many things is happening surround you, and you cannot perceive them all, but you can be there in the moment, observing things and choose things that are most like engaging to you to focus on. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that.
Instead of in your freaking head thinking about what are you going to have some things happen to you in the next moment or something. Yeah.
But like we talked about, I think it's a muscle you can train, mindfulness, so that you can kind of start blocking out these distractions and focus, kind of have the ability to focus your mind on the thing you want to focus it on, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think those practices, which like for me, walking is one thing. I like to drinking tea, or like what you were explaining. That's like one way. My way is to go. I go for a lot of walks, and there I just, it clears my mind. So there's multiple ways you can train that muscle, I would say.
Yeah. Now we talk about it and I feel funny because I'm not the person who really in the moment so many times, because I usually very much flying away. My mind is very much fragile. Not here. So about the work, I don't know how when you work, do you think about something or you just work, or how is it for you in your head?
Well, I like to work in small bursts, so I don't sit around for a long time and do my work. I do my work in like maybe 30-minute periods. So that's the way it's easier for me. And also I like to move around with work. I mean, I go for a lot of walks during work days as well. Anything to not get, I think making it somehow like we're talking about mindfulness, right? But it also, your mind has only a certain amount of time it can pay attention to a certain thing, right? Like there's a limit, and you have to keep your mind somehow active with other things. And I find I'm able to focus on my work as long as I take a lot of breaks. You know. I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah. I mean, because like when I take a walk in the nature with my dog, because I have a dog.
Oh, you're talking about, I thought you said work. Like work.
Ah.
Okay.
Oh, my action.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, but still, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like when how do you pronounce it? Work?
Yeah, work.
Work.
Or walk.
Work.
Yeah, work.
Work?
That's when you're actually doing work on your computer.
Work? Okay.
And then you
work.
can go for a walk in
For a
your
work.
nature.
Okay, for a
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, okay. But please carry on with your story. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So I realized when I take a walk
yeah.
in the nature, then well, I engaging in the environment maybe for a very short span of time. Then my mind would wander up to some things. I would think about something. So what I has been trying to do for several months or years maybe is that when I notice my mind going somewhere, I will take it back and then I will start to observe the surrounding using my five senses, and I find it very calming. But this practice, I have never done it before. When I haven't heard about mindfulness, I have never practiced it before, and I realize a profound effect it's give for me. It's like I feel way more calm, and because I focus on what is happening, so I find everything is so beautiful. Even the leaf on the round, oh, it's so beautiful, and I love it. I love it. Yeah.
And I have my story on that is I was once traveling in Switzerland, and then I was climbing a mountain, and that was a really a scary experience. And I remember about halfway through the climb, I started to feel a lot of anxiety, and I started to feel I don't know if I can make it up. I don't know, I started to feel anxiety growing. But then what I did is to contain that, I just started to stop thinking about what if, stop thinking about the future, stop thinking about all this stuff, and just focus, okay, where do I put my hand next? Oh, there's a spot. Okay, I have my hand here. And then, okay, where do I put my leg next? Okay, hey, let's see. There's a spot. So you just stay completely in the present and you focus on what you're doing rather than you don't let your mind wander into the future or what ifs or anywhere. You just try to find the smallest possible thing you can do next. And that helped me through, actually. And eventually when I reached the top, I didn't even realize, oh wow, I'm at the top already. So it just happens. I think that's what I learned, that if you're feeling really anxious or feeling you're feeling overwhelmed, you just you break down the smallest possible next step you can do, and you just do that, and then you do the next smallest possible step, and that will get you through it eventually.
I understand. That story of yours make me remember a video I watched. A monk in Japan. Japan is very busy city, so people work on the streets so fast and so much. And that monk in that video, I don't know if you watch it. Maybe I can show you later. He worked very, very slow. I think he's practiced something inside him. Maybe he chanting some mantra or whatever he do. But he works so slow on the street, and every step he take it super slow, even though everyone's around him just pumping everywhere. And even if someone accidentally touch him, he don't move. He just work and do his things. And then when you look at that, you feel like it's a profound sense of peace in him, because he's so calm when the world is so chaotic. And I think he's fine. That moment is the I don't know. It just gives the feeling profound sense of happiness, not happiness, but profound sense of peace. And peacefulness is actually happiness, one kind of happiness, because you feel relaxed and you feel with the flow and so on. So you what you just say just reminding me of that. And I think he just work and he don't think about the future. He don't think about whatever is happening. Just that.
Yeah,
he's working.
That's what living in the present means. You just that.
So it's just
And one thing which you reminded me of telling the story about Japan. So one thing which I learned from Japanese culture is that I've learned I think they're called, I don't know what the official Japanese term is, but I like to put my hands in a specific
mukcha.
way.
Mukcha, I think.
Mukcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So mukchar.
Yeah.
So I like to do that whenever I'm sitting. It somehow, it has a calming effect on me, or it has some type of let's say if I'm sitting and I'm starting to feel uncomfortable about maybe there's some topic being talked about, which is, or maybe I'm distracted by something or something happens, and I do the mukcha
Yes.
position.
I'm not sure what it's called.
I don't know what this is, but like this, it helps me to maintain focus and to keep myself calm, you know. And I don't remember which. I heard they do it in Japan, or it's like an ancient thing there. The hand gestures, you know, they have a lot of meaning and a lot of purpose. So
also in Tibetan Buddhism, there are also different kind of mudra. For example, this, or when you meditate, you put like this. When you sit in lotus position, and many different kind, different mudra. But have you ever tried focusing on your breath, using your breath as a anchor point to calm down?
And that's what, when I did meditation, that's what I would do, is that just sit in the meditative state and then just focus on my breath. And I think I have to answer your question, I have.
Yeah.
So I think that's good.
But that is good to keep you back, bring you back to the moment. Now you say that, I remember that I have to fix my posture. Because like one interesting I read about is like, but I always forget, is like when you sit on a chair or whatever you do, the most important things is that you have to keep your spine. Spine straight. But most of the time I don't think we, or maybe at least me, I don't do that. I usually, if I sit comfortable, I like this, you know, like my shoulder is down. But when you are keeping your spine straight but not too straight, it's just enough straight that you feel comfortable but you feel alert at the same time, then you will become more alert or more focused on, or more not focused, that's not the right word, the attentive to the environment. Like when you talk and then I don't know, for me it start to make me feel like my head and my body and everything is just coming back here, focus. You become more attentive in a way, you more present. More present, because you are able to, like in a conversation, you maybe you feel more comfortable, and you're more confident, right? And that helps you ward off the fears or anxiety or anything like that, right? So, or even in a public place, when I was on a train along, for example, if you just stay straight, your spine, but comfortable, completely, or not comfortable, completely, then you start to feel like you are comfortable and you don't be being affected by others because you are aware of what is happening. The pain point is that you are aware of what is happening around you, inside you, and you not like let it control you, but you are in control, in the position of control. And I remember my parents used to say to me, sit up straight, you know, when I'm in the dinner table or whatever. And now I understand it. I didn't understand it back then, but now I do. Because your body and your mind are really connected. And if you just sit in a confident position, you will feel more confident as well. I really believe that. It is maybe it's a confident position. I never told it as a confident position, but I told it as a comfortable but alert position. So it's really good. And I think when you are reworking. Not walking in the nature, but working. Yes, I wrote down is right. Correct, right. So when you are working, then if you sit straight, then it also help you to have your brain or to process information easier, and you are more focused on your what you are doing. So I think it's also helped me during the day when I'm working. Yeah.
Definitely.
And your feet have to be on the ground, and then you stray and yeah.
But also in conversations, because I think if you are, for example, if you're in a meeting and you're sitting kind of with your shoulders slumped and you're not sitting with the correct posture, it also affects the things you say. Maybe you're not taking maybe that means you're not taking the meeting as seriously as you would if you were sitting correctly.
Yeah.
I think the physical posture has a lot of implications, a lot of impact on what you say and what you think about. I think if you're, let's say, okay, so I used to, when I would walk to work, when I was working, when I wasn't an entrepreneur, I had a monthly salary. I was working in this place. But anyways, doesn't matter. So I was walking to work, and I would always see this one guy, and he would walk with his shoulders really slumped, and he walked in the way which it was really, like I could tell he was in a bad place in his life, right? Just the way he was walking. And I always wanted to say to him, like, because I think the first step when you're in that kind of place in life is to kind of walk with, you walk with your shoulders back, and you walk with your head held high, and you walk with confidence, right? You look like you have confidence when you're walking, and somehow it will just happen to you, right?
Yeah.
You become more confident.
Yeah. And your posture actually can affect your mood. Like if you like make your shoulder slump, what you call it, then you feel small. But if you open it and you straight, then you feel like, okay, I'm in power.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but not in the egoistic power, but in power of controlling myself and control my situation. Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, is feeling power of yourself, right? Because oftentimes, well, that's what I heard a quote once. It's easier to rule a kingdom than it is to rule yourself. I really believe in that.
I believe too.
Yeah. So it's
so hard.
so hard to control yourself. And that's what, like, when you talk about, or let's put it this way, some may perceive that someone is walking confidently and walking in a way that is, walking confidently, and they might think that they are doing that for other people. No, they're doing that for themselves, so that they can have power over themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
So some might say that, oh, that person is walking arrogantly, but no, it's just it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them wanting to feel confident themselves.
Yeah, I understand. I agree.
Yeah.
So sit straight.
Yeah, exactly.
From now on. It's very hard reminder though. I find, and I think part of human experience, when we are living now, is like we are actually trying not be in control, but we try to resist temptation from our desire and not acting out from our fear. And I think that is two main things as a human being.
Yeah.
We have to suffer through.
Exactly.
And we have to get through. And if we can do those two, then I think we can reach the ultimate happiness in life, or profound sense of happiness. True happiness. Yeah.
Yeah, and most of the wars are fought inside of our own heads.
Yeah.
Most things are just, or the things we are afraid of
Yeah.
are never something that we just are afraid of them inside of our own heads. They have nothing to do with reality, you know? And that's what, you know, that's fear is the thing that limits you from living the life that you want to, right?
Yeah.
Because fear of how other people perceive you, or fear of, you know,
you're not good enough, fear of maybe you die tomorrow, fear of losing loved one, fear of whatever fear. Yeah.
And we're all kind of gripped by these fears. But that's what mastering yourself is all about, is that you're able to you can't block fear. It's a natural emotion, but you can control it, right?
You not react to it.
Yeah.
By living in the moment.
Exactly. By living in the
moment.
moment.
moment, yeah.
Exactly.
Most of the time, fear is just illusion. It's not even happened yet. It's not even real. But we are like, oh my God, I'm so afraid. Yeah.
Exactly.
By living moment, we focus on the moment. Oh, nothing happened. We are happy. We are here. We are now. We are present. So, yeah.
And also, well, one thing which I also want to cover is that we have talked about living in the moment and also about the future, but we haven't talked about, let's say, memory or the past.
Memories,
right?
the past. Yeah.
And I really think the purpose of memories is that you can use it to make your current self and your future self better, right? So if there's, for example, some memory that still kind of pops into your head and haunts you in a way, that means you haven't learned the lesson that memory is trying to teach you. Maybe you're too distracted, or maybe you try to kind of force yourself, oh, I don't want to think about that, let me distract myself with something else. But if you kind of face the past, then you're able to see the lessons that it kind of teaches you. And only by kind of facing that, let's say, painful memory, it will cease to exist, right?
But for me, memories, what happened in the past, of course we cannot deny it, but it's also, I think it as also one kind of illusion that distract us from living from now, the moment. Because sometimes like things that already happened, but we still, if we engage some negative emotion about that situation, I think most of the time it's like we want to change something from that event, and we cannot.
Yeah.
And then the more we engage with that memories, we as human, we like to dive deep into things. So the more we dive deep into the memories, it means the more we bring up the memory back to us, the more we engage with it, the more emotion we raise up about it and against ourselves. When in fact we can just accept like, okay, it's happened at this, and this is the result of what has happened. And I know that I feel this way about that moment, about what happened in the past. But now I choose to do what with that.
Yeah. Acceptance is the right word. Like the key word there. Is that because you can't change anything that happened. All you can do is accept. You know?
Yeah.
And take it as a learning opportunity.
Right?
So I think that's at least what has helped me to deal with the past, is to take it as a lesson. Everything is a lesson. You know?
I like to think the memories from the past or whatever happened in the past is like a movie, but you are the main actor. And then it's happened. Oh, this happened, and then this actor, this moment is you now. Okay, she act like that, and then now at this moment we all change. Some people say that people don't change, but actually people do change. So the person of that moment think of the past. Okay, because you are here in the moment, you realize that this past memory you did wrong or you did right or whatever is still based on what you are at the moment. So if you just, I like to think it's just a film or movie that replay in my head, and it's fun, and it shaped me how I am today, and I accept it. But I won't act it that way anymore, or I like the way I act like that, so I will act more like that in the future, or whatever. This come out, just decide, just here, and don't think about the future, how it's affected.
Exactly.
Throw it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the saying that you don't want to be the lead character of your movie. You want to be the narrator. So that helps you distance yourself from the person who goes through these emotions, or who went through the emotions.
Yeah.
And I think that's it helps. Yeah, if you try to distance yourself from the person you were as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think memories is, and when we think about those that's already happened in the past or something, whatever, we need that. Because sometimes it's a part of our, not like all the time we have to just focus on what we are doing now. Of course, we have to have moment we think about something else, because it's the moment that we human need to process our cognitive, or how is it called, like some cognitive problem, like you brainstorming the problem in your life, and it's really needed the moment that your brain can think about it, like profoundly. Like
so you need the
sorry.
No. So, I mean, you're saying that you using the memory as a tool to solve the problem that you have now. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Kind of. Because it's part of your experience, what you had experienced. And then if that moment you can use it somehow to solve what is going to happen next, or what is happening now, for example. Yeah. Kind of. Otherwise, like you touch the electric socket and you get electric shock. Oh, it's so painful. Next moment, I don't care about that. I touch again.
Exactly.
Then it's so stupid, right? Then we shouldn't do that. Yeah. But we learn that, okay, it's not good. Like, don't do it again. Yeah. You don't like it, so don't do it again. Kind of.
And I think that's what life is about, is that you learn from the past and you move forward. You move. We don't know what's gonna be, happening tomorrow or next week or next year. But you use the lessons you have learned from the past, so you can better deal with the future.
Yeah.
I think we have talked a lot.
Oh, we have talked a lot?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's 52 minutes.
Wow.
Right?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the frick?
You can say, I don't care. But there's a couple, it doesn't matter. But thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Yuho.
This was a really nice and engaging conversation. That's when you know it's engaging, when you don't see the time. You're completely in the discussion, right?
In the moment.
Exactly, the moment. Wow.
Yes.
So, thank you for joining us for another Coding and Philosophy episode, and see you next time.
Yes. Thank
Goodbye.
you. Thank you.